Hi, I'm Adriana Santos, and this is the Loving My Wild podcast, a show where we dive deep into the messy journey of self-discovery, self-worth, and living life unapologetically. From heartfelt conversations that make you feel seen and expert advice that lights up your path, together we'll embrace the chaos of life, laugh about our quirks, and journey towards self-love. This is Loving My Wild. Come on in. Hi everyone, my name is Adriana and I am beyond thrilled to welcome you to the very first episode of the Loving My Wild podcast, a podcast that's all about personal growth, self-discovery, and unlocking your true potential. But before we dive into all of the juicy details about the topics we'll be covering and what I hope to accomplish, I want to take a moment to introduce myself. I am a certified hypnotherapist. I am trained in helping people uncover the root causes of their issues, release limiting beliefs, and step into their power through self-exploration. I've been doing personal development work on myself since I was, wait for it, 11 years old when I was introduced to the book The Secret. And I was 11 when I manifested my very own iPod, the one with the circle that you would move your thumb around. It was in color. It had ability to store movies on it. I mean, I thought I was the coolest 11-year-old. I was like, look what I just bought. And my mind was blown at the fact that we're just not just a victim to our circumstances, and that you can change your thoughts and your behaviors to get more out of life. And I know that's really deep for an 11-year-old, but it's to no surprise that that's where my brain went at 11 years old. And I'm thinking back, that's probably where the deep introspective side of myself started. And needless to say that it has been, quite a few years since I started this journey when I was 11, and my own journey of personal development and transformation has had some highs, a whole lot of lows, and, a few tears in between. But I'm so excited to be here today and to share my story and the lessons that I've had to learn the hard way on my journey. And I'm just really excited to be able to use everything I learned towards helping other people and sharing what I picked up along the way, and hoping that it helps to either educate or inspire or motivate somebody else. So I have been absolutely itching to get back into the podcast. And I mean back into it because, for those of you that don't know, I actually started this podcast 3 years ago, and I had, 8 episodes or something, and I absolutely fell in love with it. But, big but, I had quite a few layers that I needed to unpack before I could fully commit to it. And those layers took 3 years to unpack. Yes, but also no. In that time, I had just gotten into a new relationship that I was really desiring to just put my energy towards. I moved around the country a few times, and I went back to school to get my certification in hypnotherapy and mind and body psychology. So I did take a break, a very long 3-year break, but it was intentional. I had a lot of stuff that I wanted to work towards before I fully committed back to this. And I'm not going to lie, there was a shit ton of layers that I needed to work through. I mean, like, so many layers of perfectionism, so many layers of fear of failure and fear of success, so much anxiety around using my voice and showing up as myself and doing what I authentically wanted to do around my business versus what I felt like I should be doing, what would get me engagement or what do people want versus truly doing what I wanted and what my vision was. And, I embraced all of the challenges that were thrown my way, and I knew that all of these challenges were pushing me to be a better version of myself and the version of myself that I needed to be in order to make my dreams a reality. But none of it was fun or easy. It was challenging. There was a lot of no's. There was a lot of moments where I was just like, holy shit, can I just please catch a break? There were a lot of curveballs. It was a lot, and I didn't want to run from it. I wanted to run towards it because I knew that I wouldn't have been hit with all of these challenges if it wasn't for something greater that was waiting for me. And I truly felt that at the depths of my soul. So I had a ton of limiting beliefs that I needed to work through, and I'm back. I'm back. Stronger than ever, not perfect because we are no longer striving for perfection, or at least trying not to strive for perfection, but definitely stronger, definitely ready to share my wisdom and my experiences with all of you. I am anticipating more layers to come up because we're never done, but I finally feel ready. I finally feel like I am ready to show up and be here and use my voice and share my stories and my lessons. So that's a little bit of a backstory for those that do know me and were here when I launched 3 years ago and may have been like, what the heck, where's she been? It's been 3 years. But for those that are new here, hi, hello, and welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I plan on giving you the 411 of who I am, my story, kind of what inspired me to start loving my wilds. I'm going to do an episode on all of that in more details, but I'm just going to give you the cliff notes of that today, just so that, you have a little bit of a backstory of who I am and why I'm so passionate about showing up here for you. So I've, like I said, always been passionate about this space. I've had a passion for understanding the human mind and exploring human behavior and why we do the things we do and how it affects us. It totally fascinates me. And like I said earlier, I've always been fascinated with the fact that you can change your life. It's such a simple idea, but it's so powerful. Like this idea that you can be the architect of your life. I love a good metaphor. So, you can draw out the plans, the blueprints, you can take the actions, you can build the roads that you need to get to the destination that you want. Like, you're in control of all of that. I remember when I first realized this, I was like, wait, what? Really? And I think that it was just such a profound moment that it's like stuck with me ever since then. And I think I was so fascinated by this idea that like you can change your life, like you are in control. Not the fact that I like to be in control, that's a different point. I think I became so fascinated by it because I spent a lot of my childhood wishing that things were different. And when the idea was taught to me that life doesn't have to be what you see, you can make changes, I think that I felt a lot of hope in that moment. And I think that that hope carried me through in a lot of moments when I felt really low or really stuck. And the thing is, I spent a lot of my childhood living in my own loneliness and confusion, so much confusion as to why I felt different and why I didn't feel like I was loved. And the thing is, I knew that I was. I knew that I was loved, but my parents were immigrants, so the way that they showed their love was different than what I was seeing other parents doing at school or on the Disney Channel or in movies. You know, I was seeing this sense of support, of comfort, of empathy and compassion in these movies. And I wasn't experiencing that at home only because my parents just didn't know. It's not that they didn't want to, that's just not how they were raised. And instead, they provided me with everything that they knew how to provide me with, which was food on the table, a house to live in, and their absolute main focus was creating a college fund so that I could set my future up for success. They wanted nothing more than for me to graduate college with no student loans, so that way I had my best chance at a successful future, which they didn't have because they immigrated here. So they spent their entire life fighting for a chance to make more money, fighting for a chance for security. And they shared this with me. And so I knew that I was logically, I knew that I was loved, but I still had this confusion as to why I didn't feel it. Like, what was causing me to not actually feel it? Why did I feel empty or hollow inside? What was that? And it was just because I was a kid and I didn't understand. I couldn't understand, first of all, that what you see in the movies isn't reality. I lost that lesson. I spent so much of my childhood projecting or wanting that, of being like, wait, no, that's the reality that I wanted, and no one was there to tell me, like, Hannah Montana is not what your life should be like. Like, that's not reality. But besides that, I also couldn't grasp that my parents' differences in how they showed up emotionally, or their lifestyle preferences, or their values and their priorities were different than other people's. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I didn't understand it. I just knew, in my 6-year-old mind, that when we came back from summer break, everyone went to Disneyland and I didn't. And when we shared stories of, things that we did over the summer, theirs were filled with joy and excitement and adventure. And mine was, I don't know, I stayed home and I watched TV. Like, I felt a sense of loneliness in those moments because I was like, why am I different? Why can't I have those experiences? I'm seeing it on TV, I'm seeing it in the movies, and kids are having those experiences, but why not me? And it was the meaning that I placed on these emotions. It was the meaning that I placed, which was, I'm not loved, and I'm not meant to have this exciting life that other kids are. I'm not meant to have the play dates, the sleepovers. And at the same time, while I'm grappling with this, my parents couldn't grasp why I was, quote, ungrateful, and I wanted more than what they were already giving me. And there was this disconnect, and it was just because we were different cultures, We were different ages, obviously, and they wanted me to see how hard that they were working to prove that they loved me, but I wasn't understanding it. And this disconnect left me feeling really misunderstood and confused, and like I couldn't express who I was, because when I did, it was met with confusion on the other end. And a lot of times, frustration, because, my parents were like, we're doing everything for you. Why are you feeling this way? And it didn't feel good. So it led me to suppress different parts of myself and also inflate a lot of parts of myself, because I thought that in order to fit in or seem cool, I needed to be doing those things. I needed to be, adventurous and exciting and loud and have a big personality and all of these things that I felt like were cool and maybe weren't super natural to me. So I needed to inflate in order to, feel like I fit in, or feel like I belonged. And I struggled with navigating all of this self-doubt and this insecurity. And I mean, it was from when I was really young, like I could think back to like 6 years old, but it especially affected me as a teenager when, fitting in was like that's all a teenager wants is to fit in and be cool. And so most of my teenage years were spent trying to suppress these feelings of not being understood, not being seen and loved and worthy and cool and all of these things. And I dealt with all of that in the only way that I knew how, which was reading books, which is also something that I suppressed and I hid from friends and family because I didn't think that reading was cool. I thought that it made me nerdy, but it's what I did. It's back then, the self-help world wasn't what it was like today. There wasn't much information out on the internet, and the self-help section of Barnes and Nobles was pretty limited to like one aisle. Now it's like the entire back wall and like 87 pages deep on Amazon. But back then, I spent a lot of my time in high school and in college sitting at Barnes and Nobles and trying to figure out what I needed to change about myself to feel better, and to feel better about myself and to feel better about my life. Because I think at my core, I always knew that I wasn't supposed to be feeling these things. And I don't know if that's because someone told me that, or I heard it, or I read about it in the books, but I knew that there was more. I knew that I could feel better about myself and about my life, and I wanted that. I didn't want to feel what I was feeling, and so I always took it upon myself to try to figure it out. Ever since I was, starting at 11, right? Like I was like, oh, I want this, so I'm going to work for it. But, I was at Barnes and Nobles at 15 reading Tony Robbins books that I probably didn't even totally grasp what he was trying to say, but I was there. And so I think that this passion for personal development started from a wounded place, right? I was trying to use it as a way to stop feeling so much pain or fill the hollowness that I felt. But it truly turned into my mission. It truly turned into my biggest passion in life, which is to be the best version of myself, because that's what feels good. And I think that self-mastery is my highest value. And I think that all of those challenging moments, where all of those hours I spent in Barnes and Nobles, which, mind you, I spent there because I didn't have the money to buy the books. So I used to go and remember the page number that I was on and then come back the next day and just pick up the book and keep reading it, because I also didn't have access to like the library because it wasn't close, but Barnes and Nobles was closer. I could walk. So anyway, my mission now is to help and to share and to educate and just really help people figure out the answers to those same questions, to help people find their own version of success and fulfillment and joy, to help people leverage the power of their personal development for their own self-awareness and clarity and direction and purpose, and to build their own roadmap to success so people can start creating the life that they want and design a future that feels fulfilling and meaningful to them. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because all of my journey has been leading me here. And I feel that with every cell in my body that I have been accumulating lessons, accumulating experiences and learnings so that I can share. And that is where my passion deeply lies, is taking my mess and turning it into success. That was unplanned. That was pretty cool. But yeah, like I'm so passionate of taking it's the crux of what loving my wild means. It's acknowledging that life is pretty shitty and there's these highs and these lows, and taking them and finding the beauty and finding the learnings and letting it move you forward. That's what fuels me. That's what lights me up. And that's what I'm here to share, because like I said, my life has been full of highs and lows. It's been full of successes and failures and moments of clarity and moments of darkness. But through it all, the one constant was that if we focus on ourselves and we use the power of personal development to get out of our own way and into alignment with what we want, then anything is possible. So I'm here to share my experiences, my stories, my strategies, my lessons that I learned along the way. Usually had to learn the hard way, so that you can step into your power and you can love yourself and you can live a life of joy and fulfillment. And through this podcast, we'll be exploring so many different topics that will help you on your personal growth journey, from self-love, manifestation, overcoming fears, rewiring your mindset. And we'll dive deep into all of the juicy stuff that goes into lighting your soul on fire. And from, tips of how to build confidence and trust yourself, to conversations about why it's important to pursue your passion in life. I really don't think any topic is off limits, because it's all a part of life. And that's what I want to harbor. I want to harbor the rawness, the vulnerability of life, not the stereotypical self-help where it's like, think positive and change your thoughts. And it's like, okay, thank you, but that's fucking hard sometimes. And so my hope is that this podcast can be a place of open and honest conversations to help all of us find our true purpose and create the life that we really want. And let me tell you, that is a very important conversation to me to have in today's world, because in the society that's constantly bombarding us with messages telling us who we should be and what we should want and how we should live our lives, even in the wellness industry, like, it's time to break free from all of those chains and just step into our power, what we want, our authenticity, and quiet everything else. And so this podcast is for you if you're ready to take charge of your life, if you're ready to grow, if you're hungry for that growth, and if you're ready to embrace your own magic. And it doesn't matter if you're a seasoned self-help enthusiast or just dipping your toes into the worlds of personal development, this is a place for you. I'm hoping to create the space that I wanted all of those years and a space that I'm still craving for myself. One where we can just hang out and we can have deep conversations about things that matter and talk about the ups and downs and breaking the illusions of social media and the illusions that it's created on being perfect and living in a reality that's not realistic, about being happy and positive all of the time, and that everything should be beautiful butterflies and rainbows and perfectly, designed homes and all of this stuff. Like, I'm craving a space for vulnerability and for empathy and compassion. And I think that's what the world needs, is more of that. And I certainly need more of that within my own community. So that's my aim, and I hope that you'll join me. This show will feature conversations from guests that I find inspiring from all walks of life, from psychologists and life coaches to spiritual guides and energy healers. And in those conversations, we'll dig deep and we'll explore how they overcame their struggles and found success. And they'll be sharing their wisdom and their experiences and practical tips that you can implement in your life, because that's how I find my inspiration, is hearing about other people's struggles and how they overcame it. That's what fuels me. That's what lights me. And I'm hoping that it'll fuel you too. So conversations will definitely be had. There will definitely be a ton of solo podcasts also, where I'm sharing the things that I've learned, not just education-wise, but also sharing the lessons that I had to learn the hard way. And I want to have episodes where I'm sharing the raw and the unfiltered, the mess that shows up in my own life and how I've worked through it. So, talking about different topics that I'm working through, like continuous self-love and self-worth, building confidence, healing trauma, harnessing the power of the law of attraction, manifesting and mastering mindset and finding your purpose, and all of these things and more. So I've got some big plans, and if you know that Chris Lane song, some big plans. That was me trying to sing. And my goal is to provide you with tools and information and resources to help you, to guide you, to support you on your own journey of self-discovery, whether it's, through those conversations with the guests or simply just listening to me and relating to my stories that I hope will resonate. So the plan is to release new episodes every week. So please make sure you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite streaming platform so that you don't miss out. And before we wrap up, I want to invite you to connect with me. Please reach out to me on social media. Currently, I'm not actively posting on social media, but always checking messages that I receive. Send me an email, leave a comment on our website. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your questions, your own experiences. This podcast is all about community, and I want you to be a part of it. So that's what I got. It has been an absolute pleasure to kick off the Loving My Wild podcast with you today, not without a shit ton of fears, a lack of confidence, some limiting beliefs that are coming in, me wanting to go and perfect and remove all of my hiccups and ums and all of that. but that is what we're here to do. We're here to embrace all of it. We're here to be vulnerable, to not be perfect, and just support each other throughout our journeys. So thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I hope that you found something useful out of it. I hope that it inspired you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave a rating and a review if you did enjoy it. It would mean the absolute world to me. So please and thank you. And until next time, stay safe and remember, embrace who you are, be unapologetic about your desires, and always trust in your power that resides within you. So thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. And that's a wrap, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this messy journey of self-discovery. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. Remember, you are worthy of all the love and all of the joy in the world. Life may throw challenges our way, but we have the power to navigate through them, learn from them, and come out stronger on the other side. Never forget that you are capable of amazing things, and I believe in you wholeheartedly. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an opportunity to embark on this wild ride with us. And hey, if you're feeling extra generous, leave us a review. It makes my heart dance with joy and helps spread the word about the podcast. Got a burning question or topic you'd love to hear us dive into? Reach out to me on social media at Loving My Wild, or shoot me an email at adriana@lovingmywild.com. If you're craving more inspiration and connection, head over to our website at lovingmywild.com, where you'll find resources, show notes, and a community of fellow wild souls just waiting to cheer you on. And until our paths cross again, remember to embrace your quirks, find humor in life's absurdities, and most importantly, love yourself fearlessly. Stay wild, keep shining, and never forget how wildly capable you truly are. I'll see you next time. Bye.